Hey kids, it's Pastor Ryan and welcome to Treeline Kids at Home. We're so excited you guys are here this morning to join us on our series, Epic. We're continuing that for the third week, so make sure to go back, watch the old videos if you haven't already. This week we start week 3 of our series. It's going to be epic. Let's go. First, before we get into the rest of the service, let's do our memory verse. So get up off your feet, think about it, maybe any notes you had throughout the week, pull that out, and let's do our memory verse. Scream it at me right now. 3, 2, 1, go. If you got that, awesome, congratulations. I'm so proud of you guys for memorizing God's word. And if not, let's go over it together right now. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. 1 Samuel 12:24. Let's read that one more time. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all of your heart. 1 Samuel 12:24. Like I say every week, it's so good for you guys to be getting into God's Word, to be memorizing the verse of the month, because it kind of builds this whole group of memory verses that you have to kind of help your walk with Jesus. So now, get up off your feet, stretch, do whatever you have to do. We're going to go into worship. So let's go.
Oh, you are God, and we lift you up. We'll keep singing, we'll keep praising, we won't stop giving all we got, 'cause you're worthy of all glory. Oh, there is no other, you are forever.
going to slow it down just a little bit. Again, like I say every week, use this time to just not focus really on the beat, on the dance moves, but focus more on what Jesus is saying. So maybe if you want to close your eyes a little bit, maybe put your arms out to worship, whatever works for you. This is a moment between you and God. So let's go into a slower time worship right now.
I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard tender whispers of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers only you can provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father, and I'm loved by you. You are perfect in all of your ways. Perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are.
Now we're going to transition into the third week of our series, Epic. And so Epic, we've been talking about this epic story that God is doing, kind of bringing his people from, Moses' time. And so the Israelites are wandering. They're trying to find the promised land, this epic story of going from lost to found. And so this week we're going to be talking about this girl named Rahab. Rahab basically is living in the city called Jericho. And Joshua's going to send some spies into Jericho to see if the city is able to be taken. So let's watch the video right now.
Hi there, you little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl, and this week it's gonna be epic. We got some exciting stuff happening, so get ready.
Welcome to Grow TV. Introducing your host, Carl, and your co-host, Cassie. Where we learn, where we grow, and we talk about Jesus. Once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Hello, welcome. I sure did miss you guys, like a lot. The past week I've done a lot of reading. I read a story in the Bible that you wouldn't believe. There was action. There was secrecy.
I have a secret.
And there was triumph. Thank you. Thank you. I won. You love me. You really love me. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah! Yes! Yeah! I'm telling you, the story had it all, and it got me excited. Because this week's series is all about epic. And if I had one word to describe the story I read, it would be epic.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Cassie. I was just talking about this week's story.
What's the story?
Oh man, it was great. It was the ultimate superhero story. A classic feel-good action drama. There's this lady named Rahab, right? And this lady made a lot of bad choices in her life. And outside the city, Joshua gathered 2 Israelite men who would sneak into Jericho and spy on the city.
Why would they do that?
Well, because God told them
Okay, keep going. This is a good story so far.
to. It really is. So the spies snuck into the city, and when it became nighttime, they went into Rahab's house to spend the night.
Was Rahab an Israelite?
Nope, she didn't know the spies, but she did let them stay. But someone did see the spies go into her house, so they told the king of Jericho that the spies were hiding in Rahab's house.
Oh no, she's gonna get in trouble.
Yep, so in the morning, the officials went to her house, knocking on the door looking for the spies.
What did Rahab do?
Well, when Rahab found out that the king knew, she hid the spies on the roof and told the officials, yeah, they were here, but they left.
Well, that was a close one, but it's actually kind of cool, because she probably saved their lives.
She sure did. So Rahab let the spies escape through her window, but before they went, she only asked one thing.
What did she ask?
She asked if they would save her and her family when the Israelites took over Jericho. The spies said yes and told her to tie a scarlet ribbon outside her window. This would be a reminder of their promise to her and a symbol of her family being saved.
Wow, that is a great story. So what do you think the lesson to be learned is?
Are you serious? That was obvious. Ha, I'm gonna become a superhero.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna be a superhero. The most epic superhero ever.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Pretty simple. Rahab was a person who made a lot of bad choices.
Right.
And then when she saw the opportunity to help someone, she did. And she risked her life and the life of others to do the right thing. And guess what?
What?
So I was reading the Bible today, and in Hebrews 11, there's a thing called the Hall of Faith. It's like the Hall of Fame, but for people who obey God.
Okay, who was in the Hall of Faith?
Well, Moses, Nehemiah, Noah, Ruth, Abraham, and guess who else?
Batman?
No, but that would be cool. It was Rahab.
Really?
Yep, that's even more confirmation that I'm destined to be a hero, save the innocent, and take risks so I too can be in the Hall of Faith.
Wow, that seems like a pretty big dream.
I know, but that's what God has called me to do.
Is it though?
I think so.
I don't know, Carl. I think God is calling us to do something else.
Well, what do you mean?
I just think God has a pretty simple plan for us. Do you remember last week's big idea?
You mean I can trust God?
Yep. Why do you think Rahab risked her life to save those spies?
I don't know. Maybe she wanted to be in the Hall of Faith? She wanted to be admired as a superhero who saves people?
Nope. Rahab did that because she realized God is real, and she wanted to put her trust in God that day. She realized that taking a risk for God is a risk worth taking.
Wow, I never thought about it like that before. So you're saying I need to take risks for God?
Yep, we will often be faced with situations that require us to take risks, to do things that are tough or scary. But it's okay, because if God asks us to do something, we know God will be with us.
Things are tough and scary, huh? Well, does skydiving count as taking a risk for God?
I don't think so.
What about going up behind a horse and pinching it?
Definitely not.
What about drinking chunky lemon milk that's been in the fridge for 4 months? That's taking a risk, right?
Definitely a risk, but not one for God.
All right. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the story of Rahab is a really good example of what someone should be willing to do if they love God. Just like if we had a friend at school that might be in trouble, we know we would help them, even if it meant we would get in trouble.
You're right. I can still be an epic superhero as long as I take risk for God.
Whoa, Mr. Hall of Faith. I think you just said something pretty epic.
Wait, that's our big idea!
Today's big idea is I can take risks for God.
So on the count of 3, we're all gonna shout our big idea. Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3. I can take risks for God! All right! Good job, we did it, everyone! Huzzah!
This was a fun story.
It sure was. Now I'm gonna go and practice my superhero catchphrases in the mirror. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Pro TV.
So as we just saw in the video, we see that this girl named Rahab helped out just the cause for Jesus so much. And the reason why that's so important is because she put her faith in spies, but she knew there's something different about these men, and she couldn't even tell, but she knew that they were from God. And so basically she hid them in the house like we heard in the video, and basically people were coming trying to find, oh, these are spies, they're trying to take over the city, but Rahab hid them on the roof. And so she said, I don't know where they're gone. And at the end of all this, when they're going to go back to their camp, Rahab looks at them and says, hey, can you just protect me and my family, when you guys take the city? And they gave her instructions. Yes, absolutely, we will. And then we find out later that that was such an important thing to happen so that the Israelites were able to take the city of Jericho. And so the reason we're talking about this is because, sometimes people do crazy things and they take risks for the cause of God. And so sometimes maybe in our life there'll be things that maybe don't make sense or they seem scary to do, but in the end it'll help further the story of Jesus. And so this might be, maybe there's a friend at school that doesn't know Jesus, and you feel like God is kind of telling you, hey, go talk to them about Jesus. Or maybe sitting with a kid who's alone at the lunch table, or maybe just serving at like a soup kitchen. All these things could be scary to you, but what God is saying is, hey, sometimes risk brings reward. So kind of saying sometimes risk is good, even though it's scary. It's something that's needed to see God's story further, to see God do something awesome in your life or in someone else's life. So that's the whole story today. We're super thankful you guys are still here. Let's go now into our discussion questions. Grab your mom, grab your dad, grab whoever you have with you to kind of walk through those right now. What risks did the spies take by going to Jericho? What risks did Rahab take by protecting the spies? What risks did Paul take by building new churches for God? Read Philippians 4:13. What does this verse tell us about God's response to your taking risks for God? Why is it important to take risks for God? When do you think it's okay to take a risk? What is one risk you think you can take for God? Again, thank you guys so much for checking in, for tuning in with us this Sunday morning. Again, maybe check back at some old lessons if you missed them, or pause the screen that you just saw with all the questions and spend some real time maybe throughout the week to kind of go back and look at that, because I feel like reading something one time is good, but kind of reinforcing or doing it again helps build us a strong faith when we talk about God's word often. So we're so thankful that you guys tuned in, and then we'll see you next week for the final week of the series, Epic. We'll see you guys later.